We all love the DS, right? Well, which version did you grow up with? I personally grew up with the DSi XL, but for some people it was probably the DS Lite, or maybe the original OG DS. The big, clunky, bulky DS from 2004. In today's video, I'm not only going to show you why I love this version of the DS, but why I think it's the best one out of all of them. And I mean it. Because believe it or not, I find this the best way to play a lot of the DS library, especially a lot of the older stuff, as it just feels more at home on this than the DSi or the DS Lite. And yeah, let's kind of dive into this design. It is definitely different. If you go back to how it looked during its prototype designs, you will see a few differences, but for the most part, this big design stayed. Was it because they couldn't make it compact, or was it simply just a design choice? Well, I think it's a little bit of both. Sure, this console definitely doesn't fit well in your pocket, but out of all the DSs, it feels the most comfortable. I don't have the biggest hands out there, but as someone who's sort of average size, I would say that it's very comfortable to hold, especially compared to the DS Lite and even both the regular and XL size versions of the DSi. Like, the DSi is pretty good, but come on. Another element I really like is how thin the stylus is. I also grew up with the 3DS XL stylus, and maybe that one's a little bit too thick, but this one feels just right, especially for how small the screen is on this. And when it comes to the actual buttons on this thing, my gosh, this thing has got it right. No joke, I think that these are the best bumpers on any DS period out of the 3DS family and DS family. I would even go to the Game Boy Advance saying this, because even though I like the original GBA's bumpers, I think that these are better. They're just the right size and have the perfect amount of click. When it comes to the D-pad, I think it's amazing, and even though the buttons could be just a little bit bigger and don't necessarily mush as much as I'd like them to, they're still pretty good. And I love the power button and start and select on this console. And for having a big GBA slot, it has a perfect place for the headphone jack. And let's talk about that, because when it comes to this console, Game Boy Advance games fit perfectly into the bottom. With the DS Lite, it sticks out just a little bit, doesn't fit in there completely, which I don't think is a problem, doesn't make it bad, but it's just a little awkward. This one is snug as a bug in there. One game that sort of takes advantage of this is the DS browser, which you need this special internet connector to make it work, so I can't actually use the DS browser unfortunately, but inside you have the cartridge and this little memory pack which it needs to run the internet. You just fit it right there, and if I had the right stuff, I could use the DS browser. You won't find this kind of stuff on the DSi. But of course, with all that praise, there are some things I don't like about it, such as the stylus placement. I'm a right-handed person, so I don't speak for left-handed people when I say this, but it is a little awkward grabbing it out from the back and putting it over here. I would have much rather preferred it being on the side. It doesn't ruin it, but it's not optimal. The new 3DS XL was doing something right though, because it's right on the bottom for anyone to reach. And the screen is definitely not the brightest. I will say that other renditions of the DS did that better. But you know what they can't do? They don't have a button to get rid of the backlit screen on command. I'm not saying that you wouldn't want to play with a backlit screen, but maybe when the sun's really bright outside, it's maybe better, but you still don't have it. But other than those two things, that's about all the criticism I have for this console. I actually like the design of it. The console feels great, the buttons are amazing, and a lot of the games on the DS library just feel more at home on here. I don't know, what do you guys think about it, because it's just my personal opinion. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!